I know this is probably late enough to be considered irrelevant since the finale was over a year ago, but I'd still like to talk about my opinions on the controversial endings to Samurai Jack. This show was a fixture of my early teen TV watching days, and I was overjoyed when I heard they were going to bring it back for one final season after so many years. Overall, it was a fantastic season with a great blend of nostalgia from previous seasons and present-day drama. That little bit where Ashi goes to the rave and they sing the song of when Jack came and saved them, it puts me in tears from time to time, even now. But the ending is an area of contention, particularly the last half of it. I'll try to explain why it frustrates me so much whenever I think about it after so much time has passed. And hopefully we can get some good opinions out of this. A bit of a rundown first. In the final episode, Aku has captured Jack with the help of a now possessed Ashi, the half-human child of Aku that has developed a relationship with Jack. Aku has broadcasted this news everywhere and announced that Jack is to be executed. The execution, though, is interrupted just as it is about to happen by an attack from the many groups of people that Jack has helped along his journey. They work to keep Aku busy while Jack gets free and moves to get his sword back. But he is stopped by the still possessed Ashi, who nearly kills him. Luckily, she is able to regain control of herself before following through, and Jack reclaims his sword. Ashi realizes she has all the powers of Aku, and like Aku, opens a portal through time that she and Jack proceed through that takes them all the way back to the first episode of the first season. Right after Jack is propelled forward in time, he immediately shows back up and dispatches Aku. This frees the universe and the future from Aku's evil. Jack and Ashi are set to be wed, but just as she's coming down the aisle, she starts fading. She tells Jack that because Aku is gone, she can no longer exist. It cuts to Jack under a tree moping until a bug buzzes past him and smiles, realizing that Ashi is still with him in some sense. I'm guessing on that last bit, but it's all I can think of to explain how a bug got him over losing Ashi. It is a bittersweet ending, to say the least, but it's still serviceable. I'm going to try to explain why it isn't all that popular, or why I didn't even really like it that much, by explaining the problems. In previous seasons, the focus of Jack's journey was to find a way back in time to prevent Aku from spreading his evil. But this season, it was explained pretty vividly that Aku had destroyed all the ways for Jack to return back in time. So Jack and the audience were already pretty well resigned to just killing Aku in the future. This last-minute realization from Ashi that she can open portals like her daddy Aku can, and she can do it perfectly just after realizing it, is a bit rushed. You could almost call it a what-the-fuck moment. By now, much of the audience didn't even want Jack to go back, but rather stay in the future and build a life with Ashi and all his friends. This season established that Jack had people he cared for and also cared for him. It wasn't just Ashi that disappeared when he slayed Aku. Many of those people, and maybe even some of the entire groups they belonged to, disappeared as well. It's a sad truth about reality, but all events, even the horrific ones, impact the circumstances of creation. A man in America of Irish descent and all of his family going back generations may not have existed if there had never been a potato famine. When Jack removed Aku in the past, then it altered things in a ripple effect that resulted in most of those people, like the Scotsman and all of his daughters, to no longer exist. Thing is, though, Jack wasn't aware of any of this when he killed Aku in the past. We know the possibility never occurred to him since he was so shocked by what happened to Ashi. We can't really hate him for it if he didn't know. The more interesting question to ask is, if he did know this was how things would play out, then would he do things differently? Would he knowingly sacrifice the people and love of his life from the future in favor of preventing all those people who came before them from suffering under Aku? Or Would he choose to let those he cares about now and the future live on despite existing as an indirect result of all that suffering? We'll never know because the writers didn't know what Jack would do, so they left him ignorant and let him act without thinking. And that is why it frustrates me. I'd have rather seen Jack vanquish Aku in the future than he and Ashi build their lives together with a wedding ceremony that does not end tragically, and then maybe cut forward in time a little bit to when Jack is a father, and have a nervous Ashi inform him that she can now send him back to kill Aku in the past, but with a warning of what it will cost him. We wouldn't even need to see the choice he makes. Just leaving it open for interpretation so it can be argued over us would be more than enough. Well, that's it. Let me know what you think. Are you happy with the way it ended? Would you rather have seen it go the other way? Or maybe you would have even wanted it to end the way I suggested? Let me know. That's all. Thanks for listening.